Greetings friends, it's Victor here, and I am now 4 months on low-dose testosterone. I'm here today to give you my updates for the past month of being on low-dose T, with a special interest and focus given to my singing voice. Before we get into it, please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much. Okay, so the general updates that are non-voice related for the past month mainly have to do with body hair. So my lower legs, so below the knee, from knee to ankle, usually prior to testosterone, really didn't have much hair at all. Now, I can definitely tell it's coming in a little bit thicker. The hairs themselves are a little bit thicker and darker, and it seems like there's just more of it, but it's still, very manageable. It's not drastically more than I had before. I don't think someone else would have noticed this. Now, my upper leg, like hip to knee, is not really seeing much hair growth. I did notice the other day that I put my hand kind of on my upper thigh and I could feel the hair, even though I couldn't see it. So that's definitely a change, just in terms of apparently it must be thicker somehow if I could feel it. Because before I basically did not grow hair there, at all. I mean, everyone grows hair there, but I just you couldn't see it, you couldn't feel it. It was really soft and fine and thin, and you just couldn't see it at all. Whereas now you still can't see it, but at least I can feel it. I'm also getting a little bit of hair right under my belly button, and definitely nothing that you can see from any kind of distance. So if I'm looking at myself in the mirror in the bathroom with the sink in front of me, it's far away enough in the mirror that I can't see it. But if I come down and put my eyes right at my belly button, I can kind of see these tiny little thin baby hairs that are dark enough for me to see. If I look this close, I can see it. Also, I feel I'm getting kind of a dark shadow above my lip, hair wise, which is really weird and I don't like it. I don't know if it's noticeable to other people or if it's just me that notices it, but I am not into that. Although there's not actually anything there that I could potentially shave. So it's just and I can't feel anything. It doesn't feel like hair. But sometimes when I wake up, I look in the mirror and I see, oh, it's darker above my lip, and that's not normal for me. So I guess we'll see how that goes. The only other update that I have does have to do with bottom growth. I think for the last month and a half, 2 months, something like that, it hasn't really grown that much. It grew a lot up front and then it just didn't grow. And now I think we're back to, it's bigger than it was at 3 months. So that's kind of exciting. It seems like there's enough there that maybe metoidioplasty is a thing that could happen at some point. So that's kind of exciting for me, just because that's something that I kind of want, and it's kind of nice and fun. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, also acne, everywhere. On my face, there is so much acne. And on my back and chest a little bit, just these little dots of things that are popping up. They're not giant pimples or anything, but I can't pop 99% of them. They're just these little dots, and they're just my skin is just not smooth or flat, and that's kind of unpleasant. Yeah, and it's on my face, on my chest, on my back, a little bit, no, not on my stomach. Where else? I think that's it. Face, chest, and back. But it's just very unusual because when I went through, when I was a teenager, I didn't really have that much of this kind of stuff, at least not this bad. There are dots everywhere. Ugh, it's not my favorite thing. But part of the process. It'll all be over in due time. Alright, now for the voice updates. So first, my speaking voice. I feel my speaking voice has not necessarily continued to drop since 3 months on T, but I do feel it continues to be easier and easier to just kind of speak in a register that is comfortable for me. I generally, at this point, get gendered correctly on the phone when I'm talking to strangers, so that's kind of nice. Although, this is the ultimate non-binary pride moment. The other day, I was on the phone with a person, a stranger, a customer service rep or something, and it was a 5-minute, conversation, and over the course of those 5 minutes, I multiple times got gendered both directions by the same person. And the person was clearly a little bit confused just based on my voice, and I hadn't given my name or anything. So that was kind of oh, wow, that's kind of exciting. Even though I'd much rather be gendered, male. But, that was still kind of fun. That was exciting. Also, in terms of speaking voice, I feel I have and this is not a physical change so much as an emotional change. I feel like I have much more like freedom to speak in a higher register if I want to or need to, because I also feel like it sounds better and it sounds less like a child or a woman if I were to speak like in a higher register, and it just sounds like normal, and I don't feel like weird and oddly dysphoric about my voice when I speak like way up here. But usually I opt to speak like more down here just because that's kind of comfortable for me and what I've like always done. I'm trying to figure out where the sweet spot is in terms of speaking register, just because, you know, prior to testosterone, starting at maybe like 11 years old, I basically tried to speak at the rock bottom of my voice constantly, and so I'm trying to figure out now how to not do that, because I don't need to do that anymore, because my voice is already much lower, there we go, than it was before. I've also, in the past month, gotten on the phone with friends that I haven't talked to in a month or two, and almost every single one of them has said, "Oh my goodness, your voice." So apparently it is lower, speaking voice-wise, so that's kind of cool. Now for my speaking voice. It's basically just a continuation of my 3 months on T update, but essentially my head voice has been completely gone since like 1 or 2 months, 2 months I think. Falsetto has not really come at this point, so I have a chest voice. In general, my chest voice still sounds like me. Like, it doesn't sound like a totally different person. It doesn't sound like, you know, a teenage boy going through puberty where like you can't really control it. Like, for the most part, the technique is all still there in my chest voice, thankfully, and I've still been trying to continue to sing on it almost daily, just to kind of make sure that I'm keeping it in shape and being able to do what I want to do with it. Now, at this point, my chest voice can sing down to a B below low C, so if there's middle C, and then low C, and then the B right below that, I can pretty comfortably sing that. That's pretty nice. I can chest voice basically all the way up to where I could chest voice before. So I can still at this point chest voice an A, which is like an A above middle C, which is about where I was sitting before. And so I really have not lost much there. When it comes to falsetto and mixed voice, I don't have a very good mix right now, in terms of like, I just can't control it at all. Sometimes I'll be singing and I'll like feel the mix come in, but that is not intentional on my part. That is more just kind of like, I guess, a symptom of like the changing falsetto, that I just can't really control it. Falsetto is just like totally off the table. It sounds horrible, like a honking duck. If you've ever played like a brass instrument, for example, like if you play the trumpet or trombone or the bugle or cornet or whatever, and you know, like you can be fingering open, for example, on the trumpet. If you blow one way, it'll be a middle C. If you blow the next one up, it'll be a G. And if you blow the next one up, it'll be a high C. So in the same way that like, just by changing the embouchure, you can get different notes. That's kind of how the falsetto is for me right now, where like I can be physically doing the exact same thing with my voice. So that's the equivalent of like having the same fingering for each of those different notes on the trumpet. But when I go to sing those notes, they can sometimes come out totally different, and I really don't have any control. Most of the time when I try to sing in falsetto, it just comes out as like air, or this really gross sound, or like this really weird goose honk, and it is ugly. I will demonstrate that right here for your benefit so you know what I'm talking about, but this is really embarrassing and not pretty, so like, obviously I'm hoping that this will like resolve itself and I'll get my falsetto back. So if I were to sing in falsetto, it might sound, it takes me a little bit to like try and find where it is too. So if I were to sing in falsetto, it'd be that's the goose honk there, where it will like flip. And so I have very little control over the actual pitch right now, where like, you know, it used to be like, okay, I'm going to sing a high C in falsetto, and then I could like sing a high C, no problem. Whereas now it's like, okay, I know what this note sounds like, I know which note I want to try and sing, and like physiologically getting my voice to do that is very difficult. So that is not fun. And actually right then, when I was able to sing like, you know, a range of 5 notes kind of continuously in falsetto, that's actually a new development as of like right now today, because I, for like the last 2 or 3 months, have not been able to, in falsetto, sing adjacent notes. Because if I were to try to sing adjacent notes, the pitch would just go like wacky. Like I would try to sing a whole step and it would come out as a half step, or I'd try to sing a half step and it would come out as a third. It was just really, really weird to just not have any control at all whatsoever over that part of my voice. I would like to think that the chest voice part of my voice is still sounding pretty good. I feel like I have better even potentially better technique now than I did prior to starting T, just because I feel like this is the way my voice was always meant to be and meant to sound and meant to feel. And so I think like some part of me like innately knew that that's how it was supposed to feel, and it just didn't fit with my pre-T voice. And so honestly, I think it sounds better now, and I'm much, much happier with it now, and I think it sounds much cleaner now than it used to. So that's definitely a plus. Okay, I think those are all the singing voice updates that I have. If you have any questions about that or specifics about that, I would love to help like answer any questions, just because these are questions that I had before starting, and like it was really, really hard for me to find any kind of information on specific like mile markers, like what can I expect at this point in the process, what can I expect at all, or just any examples of people speaking in depth about their singing voice in a way that, you know, was tangible and made sense, at least to a singer. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I will be happy to try and help answer them. All right, well, that's all I have. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time.